All right, Larry. So now we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons Dice Masters, the Battle for Faerùn. This is designed by Eric Lang and Mike Elliott and published by Wiz Kids Games. The starter set comes with 8 characters and 3 cards and 2 dice for each of those characters. Also comes with 10 basic action cards, basic action dice, NPC dice, which are the new sidekicks, and dice bags, which are just as cruddy as they've always been.
Keeping that price point down, though.
Oh, man.
They are a little bit better than the first gen
You just
bags.
have your...
I think they're a next grade up of Tyvek.
I, from my Uncanny starter set, opened it, stuck my hand in, and the bag ripped.
Yeah, but you do have pretty
true.
big old, what does he call them in Sin City? My mitts.
Yeah.
Big
so,
mitts.
I mean, at this point, we just both have the bag, like felt bags or cloth bags that we're going to use anyway. So that doesn't even matter. You can throw those away.
Yeah.
So affiliations include Emerald Enclave, the Harpers, Lord's Alliance, Order of the Gauntlet, the Zhentarim, and Monsters. There's also good, neutral, and evil symbols. And other symbols include... so tell us about, are there any other symbols? I feel like there's 3 symbols. So there's like the good, neutral, evil, there's the affiliation, and then there's the equipable.
There's characters, and then there's monsters, and there's also some that aren't either. So there is kind of 3 more. Monsters would be classic monsters that you would fight in Dungeons & Dragons.
Yeah.
Almost never player characters are those. So when an adventurer, one with that equipable icon, kills a monster, he gets experience. So that the Black Monster banner does that. Some don't have that and aren't equipable, and then the rest are adventurers. They have that equipment symbol.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of iconography going on here, but it's really good.
So, Larry, in this game, and one of the things I was so excited about, besides the theme being so cool, but as far as they're upping the ante on Dice Masters and the strategy and just the depth of it, honestly, is items and spells.
Yes.
So talk to us about the items and spells, how they work, and how cool. They're really cool.
Yeah. So, all right. So AVX came out. We had a couple of cards that weren't characters, but they acted...
Cap Shield,
yeah,
Thor's Hammer.
Yeah, those 2. Those were the ones. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's the only 2.
I believe so, yeah.
And so they functioned like characters in that you couldn't... They weren't basic actions where everybody could buy them. You brought them, and you could buy them and use them, but they worked like... They were called non-basic actions. So in keeping with the theme... They are brilliant, and they made all of the basic action spells, and all the non-basic actions are spells and or equipment.
Yeah.
So what you get are things that you can put onto other dice in the way that you could put Cap's shield on to protect somebody else, or use Thor's hammer like he's throwing it and hitting a bunch of villains. But it's so good to the theme.
Yeah.
I mean,
it really is.
Getting your adventure, getting experience, adding a magic helmet and magic flaming sword in their hand, and having them fling spells, it is so cool. So the basic actions are all spells, and then there's a few non-basic actions that are spells, Limited Wish, and I think there's one other one, and then there's Magic Helmet and Magic. So we don't have a ton yet, but just the idea and then having them there is good news.
And you've got 3 versions of each of those.
Oh yeah, so there's
and the basic actions, I think they're really cool because it's your classic D&D spells: Magic Missile, Cone of Cold. You know.
All seminal spells, like really ones you're gonna have within a few levels, or ones you really want at later levels.
Yeah, for sure.
Fireball, Polymorph, Stinking Cloud, which is like a first level.
Yeah,
but it's actually sort of useful. One of them.
So, what else is new about this game that's not in the other ones? I know we've got some new keywords.
Yes. So basically, like Magic, there's stuff going on these cards, and they wanted to sort of summate it so that they could just put one word rather than having to fill every card with text. Just before I forget, these the text boxes on these cards are like 85% opaque, so you can see through them, and they look a lot more like full art cards. The cards look amazing. They're on a better stock than the first round of cards were, and the dice are quite a bit better quality-wise, I think. I've seen a couple of mistakes, like mess-ups that people have posted on Facebook, but overall, they're a lot better looking than either of the first.
The cards do look great, and a lot of the art is straight from D&D 5th edition, and some from 3.5, and
they look awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get keywords, so that there was a card in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Horn of the Unicorn, and there was a card in AVX Throne Card that had Trample. If you know what Magic is, it's it's trample, but they call it overcrush, and so we got that as a keyword. The rest are relatively new. Some characters did stuff like it, but to put them into keywords and kind of codify them, just again, it's just better for future.
To go across the set.
Yeah, it's just better for the future because we don't have to see all these text, and we'll just know what these are. So we have regenerate, which is if that character gets knocked out, you re-roll them. If you roll a character, they go back. They just back up there. Swarm, if you have a character that has swarm in the field and you draw another of that character from the bag, you just automatically draw an extra die. So you got
pretty cool.
Got a Sturge out in the field, draw 3 dice, one of them is Sturge, you draw another one. If it's a Sturge, you draw another one. I mean, it could really chain up. Experience, which we kind of touched on that. If an adventurer character kills a monster, they get a little token on them that gives them a +1/+1. And
that +1/+1 goes on the card.
Yes.
So every die you buy of that character has that +1/+1.
Yeah.
For the rest of the game.
Yeah. Or
There's ways to take it off.
Yeah, and there's
like the zombie. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or vampire.
Yeah, the vampire. And there's a couple of questions up in the big Wiz Kids FAQ about exactly some of this stuff. It's looking like it's not going to be really useful cross sets because if somebody doesn't bring a monster for you to kill, you can't gain any. But within the set, and that's where I think D&D is shining brighter than any set. Playing in just D&D, it plays amazing. It's so thematic and so much fun. There's a few things that are cool that you would want to mix out, but just how well it works with itself.
The one game you and I played the other day when we played with just D&D was probably the most fun I've ever had with Dice Masters.
It is so much fun, Lance. And every D&D only game has been like that. And I told you about it, like if I'm playing with Wolverine, Rogue, Professor X, and like an oddball like Pyro or some other, I'm always like saying what they would be saying.
Yeah.
Like, Cyclops is like, get up there. And, I'm always making whatever the scenario is in the story in my head, a comic book. And this one is it is like you are playing D&D.
Yeah,
you can make a deck that's all adventures and be fighting monsters, or
just have a dragon horde
or a swarm deck with all these little monsters, but they're horde, so they pile up
or like an evil character who has a mummy, a zombie, and a skeleton and a vampire, like who controls undead, like. You can really theme it out, man.
It is so cool, man. So we talked about regenerate, swarm, experience, equip, and that's just we talked about some of those non-basic actions being helmets and swords, and you can put those on them, and they give your character whatever that boost is. Overcrush, we also talked about. It's any damage you deal in excess of the character you're attacking's defense goes straight to the player.
Yeah, trample was always my favorite thing in Magic.
Yeah,
it's always my absolute favorite keyword.
Yeah, and it's
so useful.
Yeah,
this is one of the most frustrating things. Is like, I'm attacking with a 6, and they blocked it with a 2. So
or a 1.
Yeah,
Wolverine. He's a character who's had a couple of like effects like that. Throne Car did it, but we got it as an ability on a lot of these guys now. Energy Drain, which. I don't. This one's a little bit. I haven't gotten too many undead, and I know it's on I know it's on the vampire from the basic set. I think it's on a mummy. I'm not 100% clear on what that one is. I haven't used it that much. And then breath weapon, which is kind of a TIM is what they call it, or a TIM, or your plink. It's just a way to get it through a little extra damage, or clear the field of a bunch of smaller characters.
Yeah.
And it's so thematic because all the dragons have it.
Yeah.
And you basically, if it's breath weapon 2. Whenever you attack with the breath weapon, you pay 2 and do 2 damage to all characters in the field and the player on the other side. It's just so thematic and cool. And there's
awesome, man. So any cards standing out so far as like the really good cards? So I mean, you deal a lot in the meta of the game, like a lot more than I've ever looked into. So as far as the meta of the game goes, and the general Dice Masters community, and for yourself, like what are some of the best cards?
Well. I will say, okay, some of the stuff isn't so good for the meta because it only works in set. Like, for example, there's a unicorn that gives +2/+2 to all good characters. And there's a treant that also gives bad characters -2/-2. So that's really cool in the set. And like I've already seen a lot of people are house ruling. Well, all the villains from DC, Marvel, whatever, they're going to be evil. Anybody without an affiliation is good, is neutral, and then whoever has these
like Avengers or X-Men. I think that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, and it helps to be a little bit more available across sets.
But in tournament play, that's not going to exist.
No, it's not. And let's see, there's couple more that are pretty cool. Just the breath weapon in of itself is on a lot of the dragons.
Yeah,
It can be devastating. Formerly, there's a couple ways to really clear a really full field, so you can get some attacks through. But it usually was some special ability, like the spider bomb or something, or distractioning everybody away with a massive amount of masks. D&D, I don't know. I haven't really, nothing is standing out huge yet. I haven't bought nearly as much of this one as I have the other. I've been following it, but mainly everybody's just playing it with itself or with very little mixing and saying, how much fun is this by itself?
Yeah.
People are really super hyped on it, and it plays so fun by itself.
And the cards, like, I mean, it's always fun to look at Dice Masters cards and see how their power is thematic.
Yeah.
This one, like, especially on some of them, like Gelatinous Cube, like getting people stuck in the Gelatinous Cube, stuff like that.
Classic.
I can't wait till they add in, like, so many more weapons, like adding on a bow and arrow to a ranger character, like, this item gives all characters +1/+1, gives rangers +2/+2.
Yeah, or like
cool stuff like that.
Yeah, like there's so much they can do with it, and they will. And I will say this:
not many elves or dwarves. Like,
yeah,
that's what I thought was really missing. Like, not so much of the like races.
Yeah, there's a couple, but not. You're right. There's not many. There's human paladin, dwarf cleric stand out. Drow. There's a drow something. I can't remember what her name is exactly. Drow assassin.
Oh, and there's the elf wizard.
Yeah, there's elf wizard. But they kind of went along race lines. Dwarf cleric. He's like the starter character.
Yeah, and then you get but there was a lot more I guess it's cool to have more interesting stuff like a treant and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's only gonna get better. I will say this: one card that seems pretty powerful right now is the promo card. If you bought your starter in a store, you got Minsk and Boo, which are characters you told me from Baldur's Gate. My main experience with Forgotten Realms is in a couple of the older computer games, Ruins of Myth-Drannor, and we've played one big
Neverwinter.
Oh yeah, Neverwinter Nights. I played one big campaign you and I played in together, set in Forgotten Realms. But my main knowledge about it comes from a big fat stack of Forgotten Realms novels that I've read. So I know a lot of members of Emerald Enclave and Lord's Alliance and Zentarum, but I've never heard of the Order of the Gauntlet. I'm not sure what they are. But the Minsk and Boo, he is brutal. He is very mean.
And he's got a max 1 die, right?
Yes.
So getting the 1 die with the promo card is all you ever need of him.
And he is. And
we both got one of those.
Yes. And
so what does he do?
He basically he gets an experience at the end of every turn that he's fielding, no matter what. He gets +1/+1 at the end of the turn, and you can pay one of those to essentially do the. I want to say it's the Relentless. Also, there's a Professor X, not a Professor X, a Mr. Fantastic that has the global pay a mask. Target character must attack. You can pay experience tokens off of Minsk and Boo to make one of your opponent's characters attack.
And then just take them out,
just clean house. I mean, you can keep them from building their board. Once Minsk and Boo's got enough of those experience tokens, he can basically take down anybody.
And promos are all tournament legal in Dice Masters, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I've always seen them played.
Yeah.
Like the teamwork card was played right after it came out.
Yeah, you're right. I think the tournament ruling is what I think it's 1 week after the set has been out, they will be tournament legal. So I'm pretty sure you're right. I'd have to check to be 100% sure. And he won't be nearly as much of a player cross set, but it says on his card he gets one every turn.
Yeah.
So even in games with no other, he seems like he could be a real.
Because you don't need you don't need to kill a monster.
No, he's just getting them at the end of every turn, and he's also already on his high side. I think on level 3 he's a 6/6 or a 7/7, something strong. So that is one card that stands out, but not everybody's going to have that. But that's kind of the nature of the beast with a promo card. You get some that are really cool in conjunction with other cards, but not everybody gets them. So
I'm just loving these cards, man. The art on them. I mean, that treant card makes me want that treant character so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, the dragons, everything is cool. So let's talk about some of the mixing the sets. Okay. So you said, and you're right, how much fun it is playing D&D by itself, but what is it like mixing the sets? Does it work? I know it doesn't work as good as just playing D&D by itself.
Yeah.
But how is it?
have
you done it very much?
Yeah, we have. my wife and I played numerous games. She's primarily a Yu-Gi-Oh player. She watched Yu-Gi-Oh at some distant point in the past. She never played the trading card game, but she knows something about the characters, so they mean something to her. We've had a couple dragon battles where I had dragons from D&D and a couple of superheroes, and she had her Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and she really likes the basic actions from D&D and the non-basic spells.
Yeah.
She uses those and her Yu-Gi-Oh cards mainly, but she also picks a superhero now and then. So we've done a couple. I haven't played nearly as much of just as I have of the single set by itself. But it works. There's a few we've already talked about. You don't get any experience with this character, but there's still some really good cards, and for the most part, they're not completely useless crossing sets. It's just you wish that was true or something. You wish that Monster meant Yu-Gi-Oh characters too, and I'm sure people will house rule that one so that they can play a little bit more cross set with Yu-Gi-Oh. But they're definitely fully functioning. It's hard to see how well they function cross sets because they do so well together. You don't really mind even as much as they don't. So maybe we'll touch a little bit more on it again once I've played a little more cross sets, or we can play some cross set stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. The thing I would really want to do is make a good solid D&D team. Like, you've got 8 cards, right? So have like 5 really good D&D characters that I've got 3-4 dice for, which isn't very many of them right now, but like a good solid team, and then have like 3 just really cool abilities that wouldn't affect anything else. Maybe even some of the just blank cards from Uncanny.
Yeah, just your ramps, 2 cost, 3 cost with no text, just to...
Or maybe like Mutate 666 or...
Oh, Beast,
Or cool, really cool cards that are low cost that could just add to your team.
And that's what... most of what I've seen build-wise are people drawing on those tried-and-true favorites from those old sets.
Yeah.
I mean, Mutate 666 and the other Beast, the one that... there's one that draws die, and there's one that's a life gainer. I can't remember his name right now. That Stormwind Rider, people love. I want to particularly see there's a couple of cool cards in D&D that have like a kind of anti-overcrush. I think it'd be really cool to get some of them against like Wolverine or just Thronecar and some superheroes. It just remains to be seen, I guess, in my experience how well this does cross set. But it looks, and I won't be happy until I have Batman riding a red dragon killing Yu-Gi-Oh monsters like the little annoying cartoon bugs they are, with
Spider-Man like just swinging
off Spider-Man on a Tyrannosaurus Rex with a laser gun. I don't know.
Yeah, that's okay. So this is my favorite thing about Dice Masters. I haven't been as excited about playing Dice Masters since someone first taught me how to play the first set, right? Yeah. This is my favorite thing, is that I can buy a starter and 20 boosters, and I feel like with a little bit of trading, buying a few dice once they start selling them, and a couple of cooler cards that I want for really cheap commons, that I've got enough to play some 5-on-5, 6-on-6 games against my son when he's old enough, or my wife, or you and me, like to play really casually. This game really lends itself to playing casually if you want to play it casually. I mean, just like buying like a couple of starter decks and like 10 boosters of Magic, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, but this I feel like even more because like it's just so cool. And
well, the difference between it and Magic that's so cool is like Magic, there's more cards in a booster, but in Dice Masters, once you have 3 or 4 dice for a character, like you said, those commons might be as good as the super rare.
For sure.
And we'll mention that real quick. In the first 3 sets, you had... no, I won't say the first 3. The first 2 superhero sets, they had 3 characters and 8 characters in the starter set. So you had 44, I think.
Yeah.
And then there was one other of each of those characters available, but they were all uncommons. But people call them the rares or run commons. Or they had a funny name for them because they were so hard to find.
For sure. I mean, you could not like get a beast die to save your life.
No.
Like you had the 2 from the starter set, but if you wanted 4,
you had to
you
buy
were paying
another starter
$4 or
set.
$5 or buy another starter set, or just hope you opened a beast somewhere.
And they were rare. I don't think they actually were rarer, but they were almost as rare as a lot of the rares or super rares. They were impossible to get. They fixed that. Now there's 3 versions of each of the 8 characters in the starter, and the other one is a common.
Yeah.
So like what I was saying is, like, once you have 3 or 4 dice, getting those other cards might be easy as buying or trading with somebody that you got some commons that they don't have, and vice versa, or going down to the card shop and getting them 50, 60 cents a card. Suddenly you got those 3 dice and you had 1 or 2. You go down there and get a couple commons or the uncommon if it's cheap. And now you have 4 options for those dice, so you can team build so much more.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And the super rares so far are Red Dragon, Sturge, Mind Flayer, and Tarrasque.
Yeah.
Mr. Lance McFarlane here pulled a super rare Red Dragon the other day.
Yeah, that was a...
why don't you just go ahead and charge me for 2 more? Boom.
Yeah, we were sitting there. We opened.
It was fun.
Well, like, I grabbed 5. He grabbed 5. We opened them.
Yeah.
All right, we'll just get a few more. And then you were like, I'm going to get 2 more. Go ahead and charge him. Went over there, cracked a pack. Boom, super rare. And
that's the one I haven't heard people talking as much about pulling randomly.
The Red Dragon?
On like Board Game Geek and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I've been hearing a lot of people pulling out Sturge and Mind Flayer.
Yeah. It seems...
I know they all have the same distribution, but it just seems like...
People are working on theories about like which 2 come together more commonly, and with particular UXM, Iron Man and Emma Frost seem to come together a lot, but in general they seem to have really tightly fixed the rarity of the super rares, so you're almost guaranteed to if you buy a gravity feed. Not 100%, but it seems like pretty consensual across the board. Everybody who's bought a gravity feed gets 2 super rares.
My favorite thing about having a game shop here in town that's really focused on Dice Masters is that they'll start buying your rares and super rares back, and for me, that's a great way because, I mean, the super rare Red Dragon is really cool, but if I can sell that back to a store and get 20 more booster packs and get more dice for the other characters so I can really team build, I don't care about that card.
Yeah.
I'm not in it for the collectible nature
That
of
just
it.
paid for your whole starter or whatever.
Or a tournament or anything. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's my favorite thing. That's what I did with AVX. I don't have any rares or super rares, and I pulled 1 super rare out of there and a lot of rares. I don't have any of them because I sold them all back, but I have a ton of stuff to build with.
Yeah.
Because I sold them all back for, store credit, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're having a tournament. Is it this Thursday?
I think so, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah.
They usually start those at 6, 7 o'clock.
6 or 7, but they're pretty flexible. I mean, if they didn't have that many players, I think they'd time it whenever they need to.
Okay.
But it's going to be a rainbow draft, which is the new format for Dice Masters. People really like it.
And it'll be all the sets?
I think it's a rainbow draft, so they're...
or just D&D?
Yeah, you'll buy 14. It's $15, 14 for your 14 packs, and then $1 for prize support. But you get 2 stacks of 7 boosters. You open one of them. You put them all in a pile. I don't think you might open the other one. Right. I think you just leave those. You draft the first one, which means you pull.
So you don't know what rarity or what cards are in the second set of...
Well, that's that kind of cool thing about it is you open your 7 packs, you put your cards down, but you put all the dice in the middle, and so does everybody else in your pod. They call them pods. It'll be 4 to... I think the optimal number is 6 to a pod, but all the dice from all the cards go in the middle. So you can look immediately and say, okay, there is that many of this out here. So when you draft a card, you're going to have... I think 2 in your hand, and whoever starts the draft is going to start with 3. They pick 1 to keep, and they pass 1 to the left. You're that guy on the left. You have 2 off of your stack. You just got 1 from him. You're going to decide 1 to keep and pass 1 to the left. All of those 7 packs go around until everybody has 1. Then you go through those that you got and get 1 die for each card you got. Then you open the other one, and the draft goes the other way. So you end up with the same amount of cards you got, but you kind of have a choice, and you can. A lot of people, I'm reading how a lot of people filled out their rares is they just drafted for rarity to fill out their sets and to see what they could come up with.
That's a good idea too.
I think that's one aspect I'm sorely lacking on in the Dice Masters.
Are you thinking about going tomorrow? We should give it a shot.
I would love to. I'm not sure if I'll be able to. My wife's pretty sick.
Oh yeah.
But one thing I'm sorely lacking in is draft tournament strategy.
Sure.
People getting.
We've only played that once. That first tournament we played in was a Dice Masters draft tournament.
I've played 3. I've gotten 2 of the OP cards from AVX, and I played in 1 for Uncanny.
Cool. So we're both very positive about Dungeons and Dragons Dice Masters.
Yes.
Definitely my favorite set so far.
It's cool.
Can't wait for DC and what other themes may come.
Yes.
But D&D Dice Masters, pretty fantastic.
Yes.
So go grab a starter set, grab 10 to 20 boosters, and you got enough for 2 people to play.
For sure.
For sure. It doesn't have to be the collectible nature of that game. So.
But I am collecting it.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's awesome. So Dungeons & Dragons Dice Masters from Wiz Kids Games.